Hello Internet, this is Mr. D back with another edition of Mr. D Rants. Today I'm here to talk about something that I guarantee that if I was in class right now, if this was like a non-pandemic time and we were still having regular classes, like what I'm about to talk about would come up in that class. There would definitely be a conversation. For this video, I don't know if there's an actual name for this thing that I'm talking about. There must be a name, but I'm just going to call it the bad apple theory. And to be blunt, it's the idea that of all the police officers in the world, like the issues that are happening in the States, it's only a few bad apples, a few bad officers who are really making the majority of police officers look bad. They say that the majority of police officers are good, and it's just a couple bad apples that everyone's losing their minds about. To all those people now, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you feel like you need to post reminding people that you support good cops, not all cops are racist, or Blue Lives Matter, if you're choosing to post this stuff now, I really hate to be that guy, but now is the absolute worst time to post that stuff. Here's why. Almost like clockwork, a video will emerge that involves a police officer using unnecessary deadly force against a black person. And like clockwork, the Black Lives Matter protests, the movements, the demonstrations, the protests, they will start to pop up in support of this black person who was killed by a police officer, as it should. And then a group of people will take out a bullhorn, pipe up, and yell, "The majority of cops are good." Like within days of a black person being killed on camera by a police officer, there are people who need to yell and shout, "Not all cops are bad." There's something woefully problematic about that. Like, it's good that you love the police so much, but right now, this second, there needs to be support for the black community. They need allies, they need people voicing their concerns, making videos like this, talking about it on social media. There is a crisis, this is trauma, this is a disaster. Like, showing support for the individuals who are at the heart of causing this violence and murder and despair, like, that's not what we need right now. The people who are protesting right now, who have been doing it year after year after year, they are fighting against the systematic racism within police forces. They want de-escalation training for police officers so that they're less likely to use deadly force when needed. Their goal is to fix a system that is desperately broken right now. When these protests and counter-protests, when all of this stuff pops up, everybody wants the us versus them mentality. The media loves it. They want people against each other because then more people are watching, and then there's louder voices on both sides of an issue. They think if you're part of the Black Lives Matter movement, you hate cops, or if you support police officers, you're racist. Like, both of these ideas are completely inaccurate, overly simplistic, and again, it's just about having people pick sides, which is not what we need right now. There's something painful happening in the US right now, and protesters who are protesting police brutality are being met with more police brutality. And before you say, well, Mr. D, like, those officers are just protecting themselves. No, they're armed to the teeth with shields and helmets, and they're attacking protesters with signs and journalists with cameras. This is not protecting yourself. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos that you can find right now of police officers using unjust force against protesters. And again, you can say, well, if they weren't looting and rioting. No, this isn't what we're talking about. We're not talking about looting and rioting. We are talking about peaceful protesters being met with violence from police officers. Officers who were once there to serve and protect, they're attacking, they're tear gassing, and they're firing rubber bullets at people. This is not a way to solve problems. That's what happens in an authoritarian country. Wake of George Floyd, a lot of police officers are doubling down on violence, brutality and excessive force. When right now, these communities that are at the heart of these protests and demonstrations, they need support, solidarity, and someone to listen to their problems, listen to the issues at hand, listen to what they're demanding. To go back to my original point, to close on what I'm trying to explain, if you have 1,000 police officers in your community and 10 are bad, and you have 900 good police officers who don't stand up against, question, or punish the actions of the bad, you have 1,000 bad police officers in your community. Thank you.